Go through goals. On goals, there are two ways to look at goals. The first is by time. By the way, much of this, you'll look at it and you'll say, well, that's obvious. And yes, I actually believe that organizing is largely the obvious made explicit. But sometimes when it's not explicit, people don't follow the steps routinely and forget. And also, it's able to be shared, and everyone's on the same explicit basis. So there are two ways to look at it. One is by timing, and one is by kind of goal. First, I'm going to do by timing. There's short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Short-term is what's the first thing you want. Like on childcare, what was the first demand we made when we couldn't achieve everything we wanted at first? Does someone remember in childcare? We went down to see an administrator. We wanted the licensing changed, and that was a longer-term goal. Exactly right.
But the 32 places that you went.
We went to 32 places, and it showed the licensing was messed up. You're exactly right. And so one of the things we wanted, our long-term goals, let's actually start there. Our long-term goals was a change in the licensing, that it wasn't a crazy, you didn't have a 32-step process. Let's do the long-term goals. What was another long-term goal we wanted on childcare? 24-hour, who was saying that? Say it again. 24-hour, client-controlled, free childcare. Long-term goal. We didn't quite have the resources to win it right away. And then not being able to win that, not being able to win much of anything to start, we did ask for something that we actually won. Anyone remember what that was? What? A study. We asked for a study. Hard for them to say no to a study. Some call that, the Alinsky organizers have called that a fixed fight. So you're asking for something, the answer kind of has to be yes, but people can feel that they want it because they did. If they didn't ask, they wouldn't have gotten it. And then we also asked for hearings around the city. So you're looking for your long-term goal, your short-term goal, and mid-term goals. And the place that many people have trouble is a mid-term goal. And then for your goals, you also want to know, if you don't get it, what's your fallback position? If they said no to a study, what would we have asked for? Well, can we have discussions with you about a study? So what's your fallback? And what's your elevating? If they say yes, what else do we want to ask for? On childcare, we asked for hearings around the city. And then getting those, it allowed us to organize. So that's on time. On kind of goal, it's the three principles I laid out before. What were concrete improvements in people's lives, giving people a sense of their own power and altering the relations of power. There's actually a goal that we went for that hit on each of those. And some of these repeat by time. What was the concrete improvement people would have had at the end of the child care study? What?
They're going to be able to work.
Going to be?
The women could work.
The women could work because it would be child care. Marina, excellent answer. The women could work. And the improvement was, there was child care. We did set up the Sojourner Truth Child Care Center. Give people a sense of their own power. By going to these community forums, we were able to empower people. I'll tell you a short story about one. Because again, we went to places not where we already had the support, or not only where we already had support, which we did, but we went to places where we didn't have full support. We went to a Lithuanian community on the southwest side of Chicago. And the alderman, city council member, came in with a group that's like the alt-right groups of today, the John Birch Society, and came in attacking the women. We were meeting in a church basement, and they said, aren't any of you good mothers? Don't any of you know how to take care of your kids? And first they'll talk about child care, and then they'll talk about abortion. And I am sitting there chairing the meeting thinking, I am not going to get out of here alive. And other than prayer, what I relied on was the organizing. And one woman stood up and said, you know I'm a good mother, but my husband was killed in Vietnam. I have to work. And in order to work, I need child care. And once she found her voice, once she told her story, one after another stood up and spoke to the same issue. And we moved on the whole organization. So this is goals. Questions on that? All obvious. So these are the goals. On childcare, long-term, free 24-hour client-controlled childcare, more childcare in Chicago, meeting with the administrator, and the kinds of goals we just described.